There's no such thing as a slow season. That's all a myth to give excuses so you could not put in the extra effort it takes to be in maintenance mode.
You're a product today of everything you did 6 months ago. You have to make sure that you keep doing the work every single day.
It's okay to pivot, but we have to, in anything we do, commit for a period of time to see what works. Otherwise, we keep stepping over those things that work.
You can't sell 3 things 100%. You can only give 30% to each of those 3 things. If you give 100% to the one thing and sell that, it's going to open up the doors to be able to sell more things.
Welcome back to another episode of the Atomic Business Coaching Podcast, where people ask us hard questions and we give them simple solutions. So today we have 2 of our guests from our Project 2740 community. We have both Bobby and Hunter, and of course, my sidekick, Tom, the best of the best. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, Adam? How's everything going, brother?
Fucking great.
It's been a great day, man. It has been a great day.
Tom and I were lucky enough to close our largest coaching contract we've ever closed. That's really, really great. Doesn't get much better than that, Tom.
No, it doesn't, brother. Well, you know what? It can. It can. One day.
Nice. I love it. We're going to have questions from our 2 guests here today. We may have some side questions that were either already given to us in our school platform. By the way, that's where we host Project 2740 on a platform called School, SKOOL.com. And then you look up Project 2740. So Hunter, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and where they can find you?
So I'm Hunter Messman. I'm a local artist in Long Island. And what I do is I create art. I'm a studio artist. I bring emotion to life. I do that for your home and for galleries. I'm on Generation Drop. So Gen Drop Art is my Instagram. That's where you can find most of my stuff, and it links from there.
Great. And we'll have them put that in the show notes for everybody. And then Bobby, same for you. Who are you? What do you do? And where can they find you?
What I ultimately do is I help businesses solve the biggest problem that any business in the world has, which is finding new clients through fractional business development. You can find me at my website, helpfrombobby.com, or on LinkedIn. I also have a personal Instagram page as well.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Tom, who's up first tonight?
All right. Up first tonight is Hunter.
All right, Hunter, what question you got for us, pal? And you could tell us what the question is. And then if it's specifically for me or for Tom, let us know. Otherwise, we'll both chime in.
I've been working on a new series recently, and it's something different than I've ever done before. And we've been talking about it for a while. You've been nudging me in that direction to push myself to concentrate on something outside of my comfort zone, which is something I do like to do. But it's something outside of how I can value it, because I'm used to creating just one-off pieces that are not connected in sorts. Like there's some here and there. I'm getting good engagement with people, but I don't know how to turn that into a sale. But before I say that, I'm an artist, and my intention is not to just sell, it's to just be an artist. So my question is, how do I tackle this new series or collection in a way where I still stay true to being an artist, but it goes to people that connect with it?
All right, Tom, I think that one's on you, pal.
What is the struggle right now? Is it that you're trying to sell as an artist, or are you trying to sell as the representative of the artist? Because it sounds like you're having a little bit of a challenge in identifying who is selling the art.
It's more that it's different than what I'm used to, in the sense of like, I'm not sure how to place it in what I normally do. So when I'm doing a commission, I know exactly what I'm doing. Or if a piece that's already been made, I know how to handle that with a client.
So when you do a commission, what are the key ingredients that makes it that you know what to do?
Size, type of canvas, I guess you can call it the ingredients that the client wants.
And then that person's already paid for that piece, or then you sell them that piece?
When that happens, we're already talking about, they're already sold. And then once we agree upon, they give me the down payment, and then the rest is done once it's completed.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How much of your sales are pre-commissioned?
Probably 85% of my sales are commissions.
Okay, so what's the challenge?
These are already created artwork, so it's a little different.
I see. So when you make something that hasn't been commissioned, that's where you're struggling to make a sale.
Yes.
But remember, you're an artist, you're not selling art, right? So if someone asks you to create art and they happen to pay you for it, you get to be an artist. And when you create art that's already done for nobody, you get to be an artist. So is your intention to be an artist or to sell your art?
My intention, as I did state before my question, was that I want to be an artist.
So does any of this hold you back from being an artist?
No.
So do you really want to sell your art that you create, or it would be nice if someone bought it?
Yeah, it would be nice.
Right, but do you need to sell that art?
No.
Right. And this is the framework that you're going to have to go in. Now, anybody who's listening to this who's not part of Project 2740 may be confused, like, wait, are you guys telling him not to sell his art? Well, Hunter is in a very unique position where he has the ability, he has a 9-to-5 job, and then he has this passion that he's going to turn into a business. But in order to turn his passion into a business, he has to establish himself in the world as an artist. He's already established that on his canvases and with the people who have purchased his art, but we need to make this broader and bigger and more ubiquitous out there in the world. So for those of you listening who are a little confused, his mission is more to become a known artist, but not through branding and going to shows and doing that. It's little baby steps at a time, and each one of those steps gets bigger every time he takes one. So is this one of the steps needed? Do you have to sell those pieces of art, Hunter, in order to get to the next step? Or is that just something in the back of your mind like, man, I wish someone would buy my art?
I think that's right. So I'm, again, doing what I always do, and I'm getting ahead of myself, and I just have to stick to being personal and just doing what I do.
Well, I think it's simpler than that, Hunter. I think you have to embrace one of these two ideologies. You're either an artist who creates art that's already been sold, or you're an artist who creates art that's going to sell their thing.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I think you meant to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, are you a commissioned artist or do you have art that people can buy?
Correct.
So it's kind of funny. So
Not what do you want to be? What are you?
an artist.
But are you a commissioned artist or someone who creates art?
I am an artist that creates, that happens to have commissions.
You're an artist all day long, and then when you generate revenue, it's usually through commission.
Correct. 85% of your revenue is through commissions. So you're a commissioned artist. You're not an artist who creates stuff to sell it. It's already been sold. That's what I was trying to say. So you have to know who you are, right? This is part of who like this goes into a little bit more of level 2 when we talk to business owners, like who are you and who do you want to be? Well, who you are is a commissioned artist, because that is where 85% of your revenue comes from. I think what you need to think about is do I just want to go sell more commissioned art, or do I want to make art that I can eventually sell to people? And that's the question that needs to be answered.
And now I'm going to complicate it even more for you. Ready?
Go for it.
Do you sell that commissioned art, or do people come to you asking for a commission?
I had a feeling you were going to ask that.
You hopefully have an inkling of an idea of what the answer is.
I don't go looking for it. Actually, yesterday, someone asked me if I'd be able to help them with something.
Now, my friend, the reason that happens is because you're an artist. Okay, so don't cut your nose off to spite your face. What happens is by you continually being an artist, people are attracted to that and want to commission you. And yes, maybe one day in the future, at some point in time, people will walk through a gallery and be like, I want another Messman. Do you have any more Messmans here? That will happen eventually, whether it's on a big scale or a small scale, whether it's for a lot of money or a little bit of money. But that will happen if you just continue down this path of building your business. Your business is building you as the artist and continually having the ability to do that. What happens from that naturally is people are attracted to that and say, hey, can you do something for me? And you say, I'd love to, or you say, not really interested in that. Okay. And that's your choice as the artist. And then sometime in the future, near or far, they'll go want other pieces. So make sure that you're not focused on the wrong things, because we worked really, really hard in group sessions to get you to this point, and don't disappear from that, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bobby, what do you got, pal?
Since the change to fractional business development, there was a realization I had really today, which was I've been calling like attorneys all day long for Danny for the video testimonies. And I was talking to an attorney friend of mine, getting his point of view. And he said, most attorneys suck at business, right? So they're probably going to want some kind of business coaching. So as I'm making these calls and I'm thinking about, pitching the testimonies, I was like, how do I call these companies up? Like, what questions do I want to ask them where I want to come to the table with a variety of solutions, right? Because that's like the companies I'm working for where that I'm supporting, which is there's a variety of solutions to help you build your business, whether that's through business coaching, from what you guys do, or video testimonies, or Facebook ads, or videography, whatever. And I was thinking about that of how do I approach that? Because I'm used to selling one product, whether that's timeshare or staffing. That's it. Now I have a variety of products to solve a variety of problems, and I don't know how to, like, what I should even be asking in that initial conversation.
Yeah, so here's the issue with that is you haven't really adopted what you are creating, which is a fractional business development officer, okay? If you are a fractional business development officer, you sell a fraction of your time to one specific product or service. And when you're in that fraction of your time, that's all you think, talk, and execute upon. So when you are with your wife, what is your title?
Husband.
When you are with your daughter, what is your title?
Father.
You're not Bobby with both of them, right?
Right.
So you fractionalize your time with both of them. Now, there are times you are the family, right? So are you going to create a company that reps all these solutions and you're going to the market saying, I'm a resource for these particular solutions, and they all either dovetail or complement into each other? Or are you going to be a fractional business development officer that has a certain amount of time they've allocated to a certain particular company to represent them and their product and their service? You're going to have to choose. What are you doing? And you're a little confused right now on, wait, am I fractional or am I a representative of these solutions as a whole? So why are you conflating fractional versus I have all these offerings? What's your holdup from that?
Well, I think it's the work smarter, not harder mindset of, if I have a variety of solutions that are in the same field, shouldn't I be able to bring all of them up? So if they don't want testimonies, maybe they'll want business coaching.
Okay, but don't shit all over yourself. You said, shouldn't I, right? Don't should yourself to death. We have a t-shirt that says, don't shit all over yourself. You can't, I should do this and I should do that. You can do what you're saying if you do it by design. If it was just happenstance, these companies line up, well, that wasn't your design. And there's going to be a better way to design, like, okay, I have these companies that all flow together. So there's going to be a natural progression of, I start them with this, then they move to that, then they go to the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, and then, they're back onto the first, and it's a cycle, okay? I have built companies that do that, okay? They just go around and around in the purchasing cycle for different products or services, okay? That was financial planning. They do financial planning, then they need investments. When they have investments, then they make more money, and they need to protect. And when they need to protect, and they have all that set up, they need estate planning. When they do estate planning, they need to figure out tax mitigation, and it just keeps going round and round and round. I designed that. It just didn't just happen. So if you want to design a company that is a resource for business owners to do these 4 or 5 things, that's fine. But then you have to choose, that's the company I'm building. That's the business I'm building.
Not the fractional.
Right. If you're going to be a fractional business development officer, you are selling a percentage of your time to these people, and that's all you do. You are working for them, okay? You have given them your time, just like if you were an employee, okay? An employee is a fractional person, except that's the only job they do. And then the other fraction, they get to go be themselves or be their dad or be the husband or go to sleep, right? And they give 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to that thing, okay? So it's the same premise. Is you're basically going out there and getting 4 or 5 jobs, sales jobs, as a fractional business development officer. And the better you are at that, the higher you get compensated for that, and you control more of your own destiny to that. But if you want to build a business around that, okay, then you can also rep these things that all go together. But it seems like you're having this moment of FOMO, this fear of missing out on optimizing all this stuff.
That sounds very accurate.
What do you want to do first, not what can be done? You've heard me say this before. Is it an opportunity or is it Bobby's opportunity? And it's okay to pivot, but we have to, in anything we do, commit for a period of time to see what works. Otherwise, we keep stepping over those things that work.
Well, it's funny because I didn't look at it in the way of, if I packaged everything together, then that's no longer fractional. I wasn't thinking of it that way. It's like, well, I'm representing these 3 or 4 companies. I'll just represent them all at the same time. But what you're saying is, no, like, you got to choose one or the other. Put all your time in the one. And if someone I'm talking to doesn't need testimonies, they just really need, okay, cool, I can pull that out. But that's not how I'm representing it. It's like, no, I'm only going to sell one thing for whatever Wednesday, and then tomorrow it's a whole different thing.
That would be a fractional business development officer. Okay. So Tom and I have a client. He pays us a lot of money, $80,000 a year. And this gentleman represents many manufacturers of goods. Okay. And what he does is then he goes to the market and sells all those goods. They all have to do with construction and building, and a lot has to do with a certain part of the building. And they go through and they call the customers that need all those products. And today they might need product 1, next month they might need product 7, and next week they might need product 3, and they keep going back to those same people. That is fine to do that. He has built a multi-million-dollar company around representing all these products that go together. Okay. And then he goes to the client and says, do you need all of them, one of them, 3 of them? Which one? Okay. So you can do that, but that is a different business than a fractional BDO.
That I didn't realize.
Yes. But if you're going to do that, see, he organized this all under building materials, right? So they all just go together. Okay. And then we know exactly who we're targeting for those building materials. Are you targeting cops? No. Are you targeting business coaches? No. Who are you targeting?
Anyone who's building a business owners.
Right. So that's who you're targeting. And if you're going to target that, then you need the products and services that are going to serve that best. Okay. If you're not going to do that, it doesn't matter. It's what a fractional BDO does is say, where do I have the most impact? What can I really affect sales? And you're taking your knowledge, your passion, your experiences to say, these are the things that I can sell the best. So I'm going to go offer those companies these services because I can make the most for them and me. But you're going to have to do some thinking of what do I want to do? And the only reason you're going to have to do this thinking is because now you're seeing an opportunity through FOMO. Anyone who doesn't know what that means, that's fear of missing out. There's always more right in front of us, but is that more or is it other? Because what many people do is they say, hey, you know what? I can also do this. And they're like, well, I'm making, just going to use factual numbers. I'm making $100 doing this. And if I do that, I can make 200. And they're like, let's do that. And then they make 50 on each. And it's like, well, now I just have more problems and they get the same revenue generated. So this is something that you're really going to have to either commit to or go think about. Are you committing to a fractional BDO, or are you going to go think about what do I really want to do? And you've already thought about what you really wanted to do. And 2 months ago, you thought about really what you wanted to do. And 4 months ago, you thought about really what you wanted to do. And it's like, at a certain point, it has to be like, I'm committing for this period of time. And you know our 90-day, 1 year rule, right? So Tom and I commit to things for 90 days. If we get to the end of the 90 days and we like it, we commit for 1 year. The reason we do that is it's dating. You get to date, right? It's like, let me try this thing out first and see if I really like it. But if you halfway through the 90 days, cheat on the girl you're dating on, it ain't going to work out. I like that analogy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. All right. So I don't have anything on that, but we have a lot of questions in the community that we can draw from. So you want to get to one of the questions?
Let's go.
When things are tough and business is slow, what are the top 3 tips you would recommend to anyone who is close to throwing in the towel?
Ooh.
And that came from Claire.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as slow.
Right.
Okay. There's no such thing as a slow season. That's all a myth to give excuses so you could not put in the extra effort it takes to be in maintenance mode. So everyone says there's a slow season to every business. And no, it really is slow. And that is true. Okay. So it is true that there's a slow season. But guess what? If you don't want your season to be slow, you have to put in twice or 10 times the effort. And that's what needs to be done, is more effort has to go in to get the same exact result. And most people don't want to do that. They're like, but I'm worth more. I'm not going to put in extra effort for less result. But guess what? When you're running a business, that's what it takes. When you're an employee, you could say there's a slow season and everybody understands and they get it. And it's like, of course, it's the slow season. This is what happens. And that's called complacency. But when you own a business, when you're the driver of it, the CEO of it, it's your full responsibility. There's no slow season. So that is my simple answer to it. And then what was the second half of that question?
So the second half of the question, what are 3 tips you would recommend to someone who is close to throwing in the towel?
Okay. I'm going to pass that part to you.
This is all about grit and perseverance. We set up structures to do the work so that we are always doing the work, right? We have a course, 3 steps to making 500,000, and I keep hearing it in my head: prospect, sell, and deliver. That's what we need to be doing. And it takes perseverance and grit when it becomes difficult to obtain those clients. But what you have to recognize is you're a product today of everything you did 6 months ago. And you have to make sure that you keep doing the work every single day. You have to develop grit. You have to develop the resilience to be able to go back at it every single day. And when you have systems in place, in order for you to do the work, then it should make the process not necessarily easier, but it should make it simpler so that you're not trying to reinvent things or you're not getting distracted by other things. Because a lot of times when somebody's close to throwing in the towel, they start to get shiny object syndrome and they start to chase things that could be better than the thing they're currently doing. Business and life are simple. They're just not easy. And when people struggle and they want to throw in the towel, it's because they don't want to do the hard work. But you have to do the hard work no matter what. You have to decide, am I committed to what I'm doing and doing whatever it takes to make that happen? Or am I actually am I just interested in doing the work? And if you are committed to it, and if you have the systems in place, then you can truly persevere and keep going.
What you have to ask yourself, Claire, is it slow or does it not work? Because if you have put the effort in and it's not working, that's a different story. But if you're not putting that effort in and it's slow, that's your own fault. We'll take one more question.
Great question from Christy. What criteria do you recommend people use when deciding the product when there are multiple products they could and want to deliver?
Well, could and want to are very different things, right? When you want to offer something, okay, there's a few different reasons you want to offer it, right? You want to offer it because you love doing the thing. You want to offer it because you have the most fun. You want to offer it because it makes the most money. You want to offer it because it has the highest demand, okay? So there's usually one of those things, and I'm sure there's a few other examples of why you want to do something. What you could do is a whole nother thing. Tom and I could do many, many things based on our experience, expertise, education, all these different things. What we choose to do is a combination of some of those I just told you. What do we want to do? And then what's in demand? You can't have a business without generating revenue. That is a requirement of every business. So if you want to sell something, but it doesn't have the opportunity to generate a sustainable revenue for you and the company to survive, then you probably should not do that. So we have to start with what's sellable. Okay. And then if you can also, on top of that, what's sellable, say, I'm very passionate about it. And then if you can add in, I'm very knowledgeable about it, that is a perfect trifecta. But we have to have all these ingredients to allow us to make these decisions. And I would guarantee you that if we laid all of those options out, there are things that are more in demand. There are things that you're more in love with. There are things that you're much better at. And if we start to see any crossovers in those, that would narrow down our decisions on which one we would choose. And here's the key to this. You don't have to only offer one, but you have to choose one to go all in on. Okay, you can always take all of your products and services off the shelf and say, hey, I also do this. I think this option 2 would be better that I never mentioned to you, but now discussing, I think we should do that. But you have to be able to, until you build the foundation of your business, stick to one thing and go all in on it. Okay, the other stuff, you'll have opportunities that will come to you for it. And it's, look, we're talking to Bobby about that right now. Right? If he focuses on fractional, he sees other opportunities. He can certainly do that, but we don't have to change our business for that. We talked to Hunter. He's a commissioned artist, and every once in a while, someone's going to want to buy the painting. This is the same with me and Tom. We have this thing, and sometimes people are going to want the one-on-one thing, right? All this happens, but you have to make the decision on what am I going all in on, because you're either all in or you are in the way. So don't get in your own way of the success. And then once you have the success, then you certainly can pull other things off the shelf. Tom, you have anything to add to that one?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. It's not that we're saying not to have many offers. It's that you have to go in on one of those. And then if you identify the opportunity to present a different offer to someone, then you do that. And I think that's the key. You can't sell 3 things 100%. You can only give 30% to each of those 3 things. If you give 100% to the one thing and sell that, it's going to open up the doors to be able to sell more things. So I agree with that 100%.
I think Hunter had something to add. Go ahead, Hunter.
So I got a question for Tom. What's your tackle or your advice on to not get in your own way, or when you're lost, how do you recenter yourself?
You're never lost. You're usually afraid or not ready to make the decision that you need to make. And that's what causes people to get in their own way, is their own obstacle to making a decision. So what I encourage people to do is to start making some kind of decision. Make a small decision. It doesn't have to be anything related to the big decision. Just start making some decisions and then eventually get to the decision you need to make. That's one approach. Or the other approach is just make the fucking decision that you need to make. Stop lollygagging around it. It's 2 different approaches that you can take.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up, and we want to know from Hunter and Bobby. So what is the thing in Project 2740 that's really impacted you or you find to be the most valuable for you? So I'll start with Bobby, and then we'll go to Hunter.
I mean, the most obvious is the call 3 weeks ago, if that's like kind of what you're talking about, which was, so for anyone listening, Adam called me 3 weeks ago and said, I know what your business is. And he laid something out that was right in front of my face that I couldn't see. It was in front of my face the whole time, but I couldn't see it, which is the fractional BDO. So it's that. And I went through, like you said earlier, I went through a bunch of iterations of what I was trying to do. And I knew where I had an idea, but I couldn't figure it out. And then it was just you and Tom being like, that's it. Having someone, because I'm so in the weeds, so in it, and someone just saying, that's where you need to go. And it aligned with what I wanted to do. And it was like perfect. And then next thing you know, I lock up 3-4 deals in 2 weeks or whatever it was. It's not just a community of holding hands and singing songs and, all that great stuff. It's like helping people grow.
Love it, man. And I'm proud of you. You've really done an amazing job. All right, Hunter. And what about for you? What do you find that is impactful or valuable for you?
So I think I have two things. One was you called me when I was in Manhattan with my buddy, and we missed our train because I was really, really into the conversation. And at the moment, I was having a really hard time processing, what do I choose? Do I create colorful illustrations that I sell, or do I become the fucking artist and just do it? You gave me the push that I needed to do that. I was so stuck in my head, and I'm really grateful for that phone call. And then the other thing is, Tom, you're always helping me out when I'm struggling mentally when it comes to like getting me being my own barrier. And I'm really also happy that it stuck in my head. I remember you talking about a collection or a series or like, just do it. And it stuck.
Good.
Love that.
I love how it stuck and you didn't get stuck.
That's great, Tom.
Yeah.
I do think it's very smart how you guys have it set up where Tom is the sandwich, he's the bread, right? You get him in the beginning of the week, you get him at the very end, and then Adam's kicking your ass the whole time throughout the week. And I know on Fridays, that's why I'm always at the 1 o'clock, because it's like I look forward to that. It's like, oh, this is a little reprieve, and I can actually feel good about myself for 45 minutes.
That's awesome.
I do too when I'm able to go.
It's such a nice yin to the yang.
I love that, man. Well, hey, man, so many people have been there for Tom and I, and we have spent our life really getting everything that we give now. We're not these rock stars or this magical superpowers that we have. We put the work in for 40 plus decades combined. And now we're lucky enough that we get to work with guys like you and all of our whole community that's out there. So we thank you for allowing us to kind of live our purpose. We both of us did not know that this is what we were meant for, but without all of you, we wouldn't be able to do this. So we thank you for it. And thank you so much for listening. We're going to jump into our private session now that is inside of the community. So if anybody's interested in learning more about the community, you can go to atomicbusinesscoaching.com. And there's a little tab on there. It says Project 2740. You can learn more about it. Again, that's atomicbusinesscoaching.com and look for Project 2740. All right, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time. Thanks, guys.